Hey guys, I am Nidoking, and for those of you who skipped the last video, well done. Here's a quick summary of what happened. We got a cyberjack. Alright, so let's get on with some more interesting stuff and actually use the cyberjack. And get physically transported into the computer. No wonder they're illegal. Well, this is the information superhighway. Let's check it out.
You're back in your comfy, reassuring janitorial duds. Talk about a brave new world. You'd better be up for it if you plan to explore this cyber terrain. This cyber terrain is just a little arid. It's just more evidence to confirm the old adage that if there's time enough to do it, there's time enough to do it half-assed. It feels slightly... Your words are... That's quite a leap. You'd be able to clear it if you could get a running start, but you can't run in this game, only walk. In this space quest, you can't switch to sprint.
Hey, it was an actual dig at Space Quest 5. They acknowledged its existence.
Don't touch that.
Let's go for it.
Whoops. Guess you're about to find out if there's cyber gravity. Apparently it does exist. As you plummet to your cyber death, you are confronted by a variant of an age-old question. If you fall and hit the ground within cyberspace, and no one is there to hear it, will you make an audible splat? Yep. Smooth move, X-Lax. Guess this cyberspace thing can be pretty painful, and I'm not just talking about the rates. Talk about a brave new world. Not even cyberspace is immune from the mentally deficient types who shoot at road signs. How macho they must think they are. Hey, leave the signs alone. Were you born in North Fork or what?
I don't get it.
Hey, don't put your mouth on that.
Well, I guess the only thing we can really do is follow the highway in the direction that does exist. And they got this nifty screen scrolling effect that you could turn off, but why would you do that? You know, yeah, remember this puzzle from games like King's Quest VII, Torrent's Passage?
Hey, free birdseed, and so conveniently placed under a huge boulder, too. Forget it. You don't resemble that bird. Well, except for the pin feathers in those chicken legs of yours. You get a jump on senility by your utterance.
Well, it's just a decoration like pretty much everything else here. And not really very decorative. This is an incredibly boring piece of terrain that exists just to fill a trope, really, as far as I can tell. I mean, it's exactly the same puzzle that's been in so many other Sierra games. It's not even a puzzle, it's just walk in the direction your character is facing and try to have the patience to get through it. You remember when I said this was the best part of the game, or one of the best parts of the game? I actually wasn't kidding. It just takes forever to get that far. And remember, we still have to go back.
Not even cyberspace is...
I just wanted to see if my inventory was actually still all there. Would probably make more sense for them to remove it, considering that I'm in cyberspace, but nope, I get to carry all my physical objects with me. None of them will be useful, but I have them, because they couldn't be bothered to take them out of my inventory. Almost to the other side.
For those of you who aren't paying attention, that's a stop sign.
I'm not going to stop.
Hey, leave the signs alone. Hey, don't put your...
Alright, they couldn't even be creative with a stop sign. And we made it!
It's an office sign. Hey, leave this.
Well, this place looks cozy.
The sign says it all. There was much talk and rhetoric about the information superhighway, but the executive and legislative branches seem quite opposed to getting together on just about anything either one of them introduces. Just look at the space program. Anyway, the frustration of a former employee is documented in the amendments to the opens date. A screwdriver lies on the ground, probably discarded by the malcontent who vandalized the sign. Fresh out of spray paint, you are only able to read it. You get a jump on... A rag hangs from the sawhorse. Who knows what it last wiped up? Don't pick at it, you'll only make it worse. Lordy, 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 you want to stick this rag of unknown spillages in your mouth? Mama! Wow, a genuine Tonkoid M501, and the best year, too. It's been a long time since it's rolled over any plastic crate. It's out of commission now, but you did always dream of driving one of these babies when you were a rugrat. You drool it. It's a BFT 9000 Cyber Earth Mover.
Obviously a parody of the BFG 9000, the ultimate gun from the Doom series.
It's been sitting far too long to be able to start now. Your utterance... A long section of board lies on the ground. Bet you can't fit that thing in your pants. Guess I was wrong. It does fit. There must be plenty of spare room in there. The Port Ahead by Schroed Johns Incorporated stands silently waiting to make its designated collection of organic waste products. Oh, mama! I'm guessing one too many burritos for the last guy in here.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
It sounds real empty. A carelessly discarded bucket of building material has been spilled and allowed to harden. There's nothing you can do now. It did have potential at one time.
Hello? Is there anybody out there?
Sounds as uncongested as it looks.
Alright, guess it's time to go on in.
This is the temporary on-site supervisor's office. It was abandoned with the rest of the project once funding was slashed.
Okay, prepare to break the fourth wall in every way imaginable. Maybe you guys are too young to remember Windows 3.1, but if you're not, this was it.
It looks like some poor slob actually waited for his number to be called and died for his troubles.
Next.
But he might fall apart, and the smell really isn't worth the cool visual, believe me. You get a jump on senility by mumbling to yourself. Looks like a programmer just prior to shipping. I wouldn't touch him if I were you. It wouldn't be prudent to do that at this juncture. This is the magic window whence you came. You start to see. That, boys and girls, is Sis Innie. She runs things around here like an iron maiden, with the firmness of titanium BVDs, with the control of a steel belt reinforced brassiere. Don't touch her. She's cranky. Ring the bell.
Next. Does your number match the one shown by the counter?
No, I don't seem to have that one, but...
Oh, I am sorry, sir. Strangely enough, there's no provision for buts in this system. You either have the number shown or you do not. Now, please await the calling of your number. Thank you very much. I have important things to do.
Guess I better get a number.
Numbered cyber cards hang here, chiming peacefully in the cyber breeze.
Cut! Wait a minute! What is this chiming in the cyberspace crap? Scott, get over here. Change this.
What? Frickin' director. This guy would know a good line if it climbed up his... Oh, here.
All right, that's better. Try it again, Gary.
Numbers hang here.
Next.
That wouldn't prove fulfilling. Uh-oh, looks like it could be a long wait for you, too. The spirit of DMV lives on.
Oh, guess I better not mess with that.
It feels slightly... Don't be looking for your father's Playboys in here, either. That's the refreshments folder. Look, they even plan to have screensavers. A good idea for when those lines are all tied up. Who says they aren't thinking ahead? A darling little fan icon decorates the accessories program group. That's a clock icon. Although just a false front icon, it holds the promise of a tomorrow where true plug-and-play AM radio is no longer just a dream. Very tidy. A trash can. That might be a perfect place to store all those vital screen-saving programs like that cool Yasser Arafat version you've downloaded from POL. Pardon me, but I'm just a little nervous about this trash can thing. Didn't someone already go to court and spend wads of buckazoids over this?
Gary! Just read the copy, for Christ's sakes. We're not paying you to think. We just want that pretty voice of yours. All right, you friggin' union geek. Okay, people. Mr. Owens has gathered himself together, and we are ready to pick it up from that oh-so-fascinating Barney Fife meets Perry Mason segue. All right. Animation to speed. And roll.
Your words caught... Hey, don't... You drool.
Yeah, you get interesting animations, but I'm going to skip the radio for the moment. We'll come back to it.
That wouldn't prove fulfilling. It feels... That wouldn't... That's
Alright, the radio. Sing along if you know the words.
This world's a great big ball of dirt with 50 billion souls who like to sit around and veg down in the dark like moles. But me, I'm just the kind of girl who loves the open air and bits of unburned hydrocarbons blowing through my hair. New soil is clear, at last it's here with clearly better taste. Less people too, like me and you, and less reprocessed waste. More hearty crunch for snacks or lunch, it's crystal clear to see.
Next.
New soil and clear, the last frontier for folks like you and me. New soil and clear, clearly less people, clearly more taste.
You virtually eat the nearly real mint. Your virtual breath is now virtually minty fresh. Similar to the mint bowl found on the desks of receptionists in those pre-super information highway days, a mint candy icon symbolically takes up valuable desktop space.
Cool. That looks like the file place.
Everyone knows that's the file manager.
Whatever. It still blows. Even a lowly pond-sucking janitor knows that.
I'm sure Win 2001 will be better.
Well, you hold your breath and I'll hold what I want while waiting for it, and we'll see who's...
Cheese it! Someone is listening to us, and I'm certain they didn't pay to hear this.
You're right. They'd probably like to hear more of me. I am the hero.
Next.
What do you know? And ooh, let's puke hard Fusion 500.
Just what do you think you're doing, sir?
Well, I didn't think you'd mind if I just looked through your files.
And I thought I'd seen it all. Just step back and wait your turn.
You may just have improved your chances of getting to the files with that slick little maneuver. Sometimes you do surprise me, Roger. You saw it here first. A preview of the famed information superhighway. Wow. You saw it.
Alright, well, I guess there's only one thing to do now, and wait for my number to come up. After it wraps all the way around past 99.
Next.
This could take a while.
Next.
Even with time-lapse, I'm not waiting that long. Let's see what I've got in my pockets.
It's the number 3 card you took from the card dispenser. As cool as it would be, don't pick at that.
Yeah,
Wouldn't.
I'm pretty sure if you just click the screwdriver on the numbers, he'll open it automatically, but this works too.
Does your number match the one shown by the counter?
As a matter of fact, I do possess that number. Read it and weep, Pixel Woman.
Oh no, you can't possibly. Oh. Well, I guess you're right.
You bet your palate, little 32 by 32 pixel mama.
What the hell was that? So here we are in the file manager. Oh boy.
A darn capable fire extinguisher stands ready to save all this paper in the event of a fire. They've spared no expense. Nothing's burning. What's wrong with you? Your words caused... Cooling pipes are seen strewn throughout the game to cool these hot graphics. You do enough of that in your off time. Oh, that doesn't look good. Apparently the ladder hasn't been relocated in some time. No good. All the WD-40 and LZ gel in the galaxy aren't gonna budge this corroded hunk of useless hardware. Massive file cabinets stretch off into the distance. This should be a cinch.
And indeed it would be if you remember what you're supposed to be looking up. Anyone remember? Because we haven't heard it in ages.
That drawer isn't even close to a drawer that starts with the letter R.
Well, it starts with S. How much closer can you get?
That drawer...
Alright, so we need to open an R drawer. Specifically, if you remember way back to when we first got to the deep ship, we looked up the DNA from one of the kidnappers and discovered that his name was Nigel Rancid. For some reason, even though that has no connection to Dr. Bellows that we know about, which is who we're trying to find information about, that's where we need to start.
Man, these filing cabinets are a mess. Even I could keep them up better than this.
So off we go to find a drawer in the early R's. which will have information on Nigel, and that looks like the one.
That file apparently doesn't want to open.
Not that one.
That file...
But at least they're close to the R's. Oh, that one is even further away from the R's, but he could open it.
Man, these filing cabinets.
Okay, yeah, the drawer that we need is the first R drawer. But since we can't see into it,
Man, these.
we're gonna have to work our way up there. What you've just seen is about the next 5 minutes of the video. Oh, there he is, right above Ayn Rand.
You summon the ability to leave it alone.
Oh man, I was interested in raspberries. Let's take a look and see what we got. If we knew about Nigel and Singent, they've been employed by Dr. Bellows and Sharpei. And the cross-references are Bellows, Sharpei, and Santiago for some reason. Wonder why they're cross-referenced to Stellar. Yeah, well, no time to think about it. Now we need to go look up those cross-references. And there's nothing over in that direction. Just a whole bunch of locked drawers.
That file apparently doesn't want to open.
And what you gotta do is look for the drawers that have little outlines around them. And particularly the ones that go up in a diagonal, like these two.
Crud. I can't seem to reach it from here.
If you want to get into the top drawer, you gotta open all the drawers to make the staircase up to it. And then climb on top. And here's a nifty little Easter egg.
Now, what have we here? You haven't found the clue to this file's existence, yet somehow you know. Perhaps subtracting a few 100 points from your score will teach you. Cheaters never prosper.
Then it returns all the points and lets me just take the file anyway. I know what we need here is Project Immortality, but I'm gonna wait to actually read it until we find the cross-reference to it. This will just save me some time having to come back here later. And yes, he did return all of the points that I lost. I did count. Let's go ahead and look up Dr. Bellows first, since he's the only one that's down the A through I aisle. And that'll be his folder right near the ground. Bix Biderbeck. Oh, let's see what they've got on him. Controversial efforts to mitigate the effects of or altogether eliminate aging. And he's cross-referenced to Sharpei and Santiago, which we already knew about. So now we gotta go find them. So Stellar's file is right near the beginning of the S's. Next to Santa Claus in San Francisco. And Santiago, Chile. And it mentions her departure from this world, which I think we can fairly assume to be false information at this point. But apparently it's still evidence, and all we have left to do is look up Sharpei. There's some drawers with outlines. Omar Sharif and Charlie and Martin Sheen. Ooh, also Alan Sherman. I like his music. There she is. So, glowing praise for her. the same cross-references we've seen before, but there is the cross-reference to Project Immortality in her folder. For whatever reason. So now let's see what Project Immortality is all about. Funded by Sharpei, overseen by Dr. Bellows. Promises humankind eternal life. So, I'm not really sure what conclusion I was supposed to draw from all of that, but that's the evidence that we need. Dr. Bellows and Sharpei were working together on Project Immortality, kidnapped Stellar to do it. And here's a drawer with some interesting headings in it. Space Quest 7.
That wouldn't prove fulfilling. It looks a lot more detailed than it did in Space Quest 4, that's for sure. You summon the ability.
Those generic messages actually were very profound, if randomly chosen. And of course, there was a cross-reference to Endgame in the Project Immortality folder, but that's a red herring. There is no such file. Just in case anybody thinks I would skip an Easter egg that blatantly, let's go check out the E drawers. And whatever the hell that is in that drawer.
That file. That file.
So yeah, no endgame. Maybe it's referencing the end of this game. But it's still going to be a couple more videos before we get there. And by then you're probably not going to care about Project Immortality anymore. Meanwhile, now we've got to do something with all the evidence we've gathered. And I'm pretty sure we can't take it out of the virtual world with us, so we need to transfer it to the real world somehow.
The cyber printer accepts your cyber file gratefully and begins to print. The question is, what exactly is the output of a cyber printer?
And I'd like to point out that I'm pretty sure this was well before any operating system interface allowed you to do things like drag a document to the printer icon to make it print. Maybe Macs were doing that at this time, but I don't believe that Windows did. You had to actually be using a program with a print option in the menu. Then again, I don't know if Windows even lets you do that today.
Well, what do you know? Maybe there is something to this superhero reputation thing after all. And after that episode with the egg beater, I thought you'd never impress me again.
So that's a pretty good hint that we got all the information that we needed. Now we gotta go back. Oh, those classic Windows startup and shutdown noises. I don't even know if Windows 7 is that customizable. I think I remember reading somewhere that if you got Windows 7 Basic, you can't even change the wallpaper. I don't know why they would do that. It seems like such a basic thing, but then, you know, Vista never let you do anything much. So I don't really feel like walking all the way back along this road. Let's take a shortcut I didn't even know about my first time through.
You smartly drop the board in place, spanning the gap between the two bridge sections.
Yeah, my first time I walked all the way back along the road, and I even had the hint book. And we've got the printouts, I suppose.
Some printouts have emerged from the doctor's printer. These are the printouts of the files you've collected from cyberspace as evidence against Dr. Bellows.
Now, I suppose I could confront him with this stuff, but it's been a while, and that will launch us into the final act of the game. And Have fun with that. Let's just say that there's a reason this game is subtitled The Spinal Frontier, and we haven't seen it yet, have we? I will see you guys for that next time.
Explore this cyber terrain. This cyber terrain is just a little arid. It's just more evidence to confirm the old adage that if there's time enough to do it, there's time enough to do it half-assed. It feels slightly... Your words are... That's quite a leap. You'd be able to clear it if you could get a running start, but you can't run in this game, only walk. In this space quest, you can't switch to sprint.
Hey, it was an actual dig at Space Quest 5. They acknowledged its existence.
Don't touch that.
Let's go for it.
Whoops.
Guess you're about to find out if there's cyber gravity.
Here. And not really very decorative. This is an incredibly boring piece of terrain that exists just to fill a trope, really, as far as I can tell. I mean, it's exactly the same puzzle that's been in so many other Sierra games. It's not even a puzzle, it's just walk in the direction your character is facing and try to have the patience to get through it. You remember when I said this was the best part of the game, or one of the best parts of the game? I actually wasn't kidding. It just takes forever to get that far. And remember, we still have to go back.
Not even cyberspace is...
Hey guys, I am Nidoking, and for those of you who skipped the last video, well done. Here's a quick summary of what happened. We got a cyberjack. Alright, so let's get on with some more interesting stuff and actually use the cyberjack. And get physically transported into the computer. No wonder they're illegal. Well, this is the information superhighway. Let's check it out.
You're back in your comfy, reassuring janitorial duds. Talk about a brave new world. You'd better be up for it if you plan to
Well, I guess the only thing we can really do is follow the highway in the direction that does exist. And they got this nifty screen scrolling effect that you could turn off, but why would you do that? You know, yeah, remember this puzzle from games like King's Quest VII, Torrent's Passage?
Hey, free birdseed, and so conveniently placed under a huge boulder, too. Forget it. You don't resemble that bird. Well, except for the pin feathers in those chicken legs of yours. You get a jump on senility by your utterance.
Well, it's just a decoration, like pretty much everything else.
Apparently it does exist. As you plummet to your cyber death, you are confronted by a variant of an age-old question. If you fall and hit the ground within cyberspace, and no one is there to hear it, will you make an audible splat? Yep. Smooth move, X-Lax. Guess this cyberspace thing can be pretty painful, and I'm not just talking about the rates. Talk about a brave new world. Not even cyberspace is immune from the mentally deficient types who shoot at road signs. How macho they must think they are. Hey, leave the signs alone. Were you born in North Fork or what?
I don't get it.
Hey, don't put your mouth on that.